Hey guys, and welcome back to Let's Talk About It. I'm your host, Rochelle Campbell, and let me just introduce you today to the one and the only
KJ Sanchez.
street preacher. So excited to have you here today, KJ.
Thank you. I'm excited to be on here.
Oh, this is great. So, KJ has a great testimony to share. And for those out there that feel or don't believe that things get better,
They do. They do. God turns everything around.
amen.
God turns everything around.
Amen. So let's start off in the beginning. We're young.
Okay.
How was your childhood? Was good?
Yeah, my childhood was good. Really. I mean, I have a great family. Always supportive of me. Always, had high goals and dreams for me. Knew my potential and things like that. And they always supported me. Never.
Great expectations of
Yeah.
KJ. So tell us about going to school, what that was like.
Well, okay. From elementary school and middle school, it was kind of difficult for me because well, in school I was very smart. But I also, but I also had long hair, played a lot of video games and things like that, so I wasn't really like a cool kid. I played like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon and stuff, so.
What's wrong with those?
Yeah.
I love those.
Well, yeah,
games.
I love them. I love them still, but
Yeah.
but in school,
It's not cool.
I got picked on for it a lot. Got beat up and my glasses taken one
No.
time. I got my hair pulled constantly. I was called a girl, all
Oh
kinds
my
of
goodness.
names. Yeah, so I was bullied quite heavily in elementary school and middle school.
Wow.
But I started skateboarding a little bit,
Yeah.
and by the time I was in high school, I actually made quite a few friends off of that, and I cut my hair too, and so I started making friends, but bad friends, unfortunately, and they got me introduced into a lot of bad things.
Wow.
So yeah,
So we'll say we were cruising up to high school.
Yeah.
And do you feel like you just accepted those friends because you just were desperate for friends? Desperate for friends?
yeah, I would say so. Like it was finally like
Acceptance.
yeah, like having a group of friends, rather than one or two friends total.
Oh, so you felt like I'm the man.
Yeah, like I was
Yeah.
finally cool now. They were inviting me places. They wanted me to hang out.
Yeah.
Even everybody wanted to talk to me now. Because I was a skater and stuff, and
Cool.
yeah,
So cool places, not cool people.
yeah,
That I think we all make those mistakes, because we just want to be accepted, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just it'll take you down a path that is not going to be good. We all know that.
and
So, we're in school. What were some of the bad choices that we made?
So it started out, it started out right away with smoking cigarettes, drinking, and then it became smoking weed as well. But all at once, like very quickly, because it happened I didn't want to pretend like I wasn't doing that stuff, because everybody
Right.
else was already doing it for years.
Right.
So, and we were 13, 14 at the time, so, everybody else was already doing it for a while, so, when I came into it, I wanted to act like I was doing that with them too.
Right.
So,
Right.
I just, like, oh, you smoke weed? Yeah, of course I do, and so, started smoking weed and drinking very quickly with them, started skipping classes a lot.
Oh my gosh.
Like it was very downhill very fast,
Right.
like it was from one, nerdy, like, all 90s in every class and, great student to now I'm smoking weed, drinking, skipping classes, getting into fights, all kinds of things. So
What would you tell your parents?
about why I was getting in trouble.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I was just very like
Didn't care.
I just didn't really care about anything. I just was like, just whatever, punish me,
My goodness.
whatever they wanted to throw at me. Really, it was just like, okay, well, I'll just go out skating and get high again. It didn't affect me at all. And just kind of actually more than anything, it made me want to do it more because it was like, not that what they were doing was wrong. The punishment and consequences of doing wrong was 100% correct.
Right.
But in my head, what it was happening was, well, they want to take away my friends and my fun.
Yes,
they want to take away my fun,
Yep.
so they're wrong.
Absolutely.
And my friends who are 14 years old know everything, and I should be hanging out with them instead.
And how dare you tell me not to be friends with my friends, right? That's how it goes. I think in every household you reach that point
Yeah.
with your parent where you're like, don't, no, they love me. What do you mean? So at this point now, we're smoking some weed,
Yeah.
we're drinking.
Yeah.
Where do we go from there?
So, okay, so when I was 14 years old, no, I was 15, I got arrested for possession with intent to distribute of marijuana. I also at that point had my brother doing that also with me, and he was also arrested the same day.
Wow.
Because someone had got caught and they snitched on both of us.
Yeah.
So, that's what happened. And so, going home that day was kind of intense,
Kind of.
Yeah, it was kind of intense.
Oh my goodness.
I had to deal with a lot because of that. And then, the next year I was back in school. I didn't go to jail for that. They let me off for that.
Praise God.
Yeah, praise God. But the next year, I had gotten arrested again by myself this time, again for possession, because this time it was possession of weed again, but it was just a possession for personal use. And that time I had gotten an ACOD, which is...
Can you explain what that is?
That's it. It's I forgot 100% what the acronym stands for, but it's something contemplation of dismissal. So it's basically if you stay good for a certain amount of time, you're good. They let you off.
So it would be like hidden off your record.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So when I go for job applications or anything like that, I don't have to put down anything. Yeah.
What is it, criminal?
Yeah. No, well, that one would have been considered a misdemeanor.
Okay.
So I don't have to put down any misdemeanors, no felonies, nothing like that.
Got it.
So I'm good, but at that point, I had already been going to church. I started going to church a little bit because my mom was going to church at the time, and my sister, and they had asked the pastor and some of the elders to come to my hearing. So they did, and so I figured to show some respect, I'll go to their church, whatever. And I did accept Christ, but I wasn't ready to give my life up for Him. I just was more of, like I believe in God, but I still want my friends.
And I think most people don't get that point. You can give yourself to Christ, but you can still fall back into the same type of behavior.
Yeah.
Because that moment, you think, oh,
yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm saved,
Yeah.
So it's like only God can judge me, so I can do whatever I want.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
if anything, that should scare you more
Right.
than humans judging you, because God holds you to a way
Let 'em
higher
know.
standard
Let
than
them know.
humans do.
Absolutely. So, okay, we're getting in trouble with the law now.
Yeah.
Things are starting to intensify in your young life,
Yeah. And at this time, I'm
Yeah.
16 years old. So.
which is young to
Yeah.
be intent to sell, you know. So we're going to church and give ourselves to the Lord, or what we thought we gave ourselves to the Lord.
Right.
And so, advance us a little bit there.
So I was living this double life now because, you know, I was still able to go back to school. I don't think I dropped out at that point because I just
Of high school.
Of high school, because I had known, like, I was already left back so many years, you know, because I didn't go to a single class, you know.
Wow.
I literally skipped every single class from 9th grade all the way until 11th grade. I was hanging, like, when I went to school, it would just be to go get high and hang out with, you know, the local gang kids and things like that. You know, I knew Bloods, Crips, Latin Kings,
Wow.
you know, so
Yeah.
it was just no point in me going. And now that I sort of turned my life to Christ, I was like, well, I don't really want to hang out with the gangs anymore, but I still want my friends. So what would happen is,
You wanted the street cred.
yeah,
Still.
yeah,
Got it.
exactly. I still wanted my friends. I didn't want to get rid of my life. I just wanted to have my get out of jail free card and go to heaven. So, but obviously things don't work that way. So, you know, I was still smoking weed. I was smoking wax occasionally.
What is that?
It's a more dense form of THC, and it's like it literally is like a wax, or sometimes it's an oil, but it's a very strong form of THC, which is in marijuana.
Okay.
So it's really strong. And I had also been introduced to pills at this time, so, you know, it was like pretty weird. I had gotten a little job, you know, a cashier, and, you know, so I was bouncing back and forth. It would be like on Sunday I'd be like, yeah, God is so great. I love my 3 worship songs on Sunday and the great motivational message, but right after that I got to go see my friends, you know, and right after, and got to go do what I got to do, you know. And, you know, it was very ironic because I'd be like sitting there smoking drugs with them, or taking drugs, or drinking and talking about, you know, God. You know, it was just so backwards, you know. But so at this point in my job, I had met someone there who became a very close person to me. Not anymore, but at that time I was 17 years old, and they also were into drugs. So it was just I don't even know how to say it, such an explosive relationship there, because it took both of us off the deep end. We went so far into
Right.
drugs.
But that's also your misery and company person.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
So it was just a bad, like, we shouldn't have ever talked or hung out or
Right.
anything like that, because
Right.
it literally, like, from where we were was not even close to how far we went because of us hanging out from meeting at our work. So it started with just smoking weed, taking a couple pills, but it became now, let's do more pills, you know, and less weed.
Now, when you smoke, right?
Yeah.
So you smoke, and then you're engaging in the pill thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's to get you higher.
Yeah.
Do you actually get higher?
Yeah. Because of the different chemicals. One isn't. The pills are opiates.
Right.
Well, those specific ones we were taking were opiates. It later got into other things, but the specific ones at the time were opiates. Not going to get more into details of that,
Yeah.
but and then so the THC, like, it's more like, they're just 2 different highs.
Right.
So like when you mix them together, it's like very different, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, we would continually do that, but it was a lot less though. It would be like it would be like 1 or 2 occasionally.
Got it.
We would like steal them. Well, this is really bad, and I feel horrible saying it, but we would take them from her mom's cabinet, you know, and like, you know, really grimy stuff like that.
Yeah.
We would do, you know,
Yeah,
but it was,
desperate.
yeah, exactly. but we weren't full blown addicts yet, or at least not that we knew. We were mentally already,
Right.
but
We
we
were hooked.
weren't. But we didn't realize what was happening, the change that was happening to us at that point. So, fast forwarding a little bit, we found out about a different kind of pill, and it's called Xanax. Now, I understand some people, mental health issues, I totally agree in getting help, and if a doctor says you should take something, then go ahead and take it. I'm not going against that at all. But I was never prescribed anything, neither was the person who was with me. So, for people who aren't prescribed, do not take any medicine that's not prescribed to you.
Absolutely.
So we started taking Xanax, and that became the love of our life. There was nothing on earth like that to us. Like, it didn't matter.
Now, is that something that calms you down, or?
So it's prescribed for anxiety.
Right.
So, like, people who get super anxious, super worried, like, you can't even, like, you'll have panic attacks and you have a hard time breathing. It's for that, to calm you down, calm your nerves. But when you don't have that and you take it, it gives you a very strong high that makes you very loopy. You're very silly, but you also feel very, like, you could
Free.
do anything. Yeah, free.
Yeah.
You could do anything. You could do whatever you want, but you also black out at the same time too.
Wow.
Though. So, like, almost like when for someone who drank too much and they could, like, black out and not know what happened.
Yeah.
This will happen almost every time you do Xanax. When you're
Really?
taking it not prescribed to you.
Right.
It will happen almost every time.
So, is it something that you take a lot of to get to that point? Is it something that you?
Well, it depends on the person, really. I mean, everybody's body reacts differently.
Right.
But for me, I mean, it would take a couple. But I mean, I was doing pills a lot now at this point, so it was a little different for me. But
so at that point, are you like, I have a problem?
no, it wasn't. I didn't even think I had a problem at all. It became, like, to the point where we were, like, finding people on, like, social media and stuff who knew about Xanax and stuff, and we were meeting up with random people in parking lots, and we were meeting people to get it. Yeah, so we were finding better dealers to get better prices because we were also selling it now too. So we were selling to keep ourselves all right, So we would meet them everywhere. It didn't matter who they were, where they were. We would find them and get as much as possible because this person was still working and they fronted the money, so I could go out and sell everything and have a whole bunch of money, and then we could party all the time. And there was times, I mean, it was just madness. Like, we would do whatever, and I would just wake up the next day and not know what happened.
Now, at this particular time, are you home? Are you going home like that?
Yeah, I'm going home every night. By like 11 o'clock I'll be home. And because I'm 17 years old, 18, about that age. So I'm 17 years old or 18, staying out like till like 11, on the streets, doing whatever I wanted to. I thought I was, Pablo Escobar. I could do whatever I wanted, and there was nobody that could tell me anything. I did whatever I wanted. I mean, I remember specific points where I would, like, come in and out of the high, and I remember, there's a point where I'm arguing with somebody, and then, like, the next memory I have, like, I'm in a completely different town, like, just smoking a cigarette, don't even know what happened to that person, or anything of that situation, or what happened afterward. I don't know what happened, it just blanked out. I don't have, like, at least, like, 7 months of memory. It's just gone because of that,
So, we're high.
Yeah,
we're
really bad.
We're home.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get around your parents like that?
I wasn't. They
knew.
They knew 100%. There was actually a point where, we were having dinner, probably about 6:30 or something. 6 o'clock, you know, and do spaghetti, and I'm sitting there trying to text the person, and I'd already been doing a lot, you know, and so I was fine when I sat down for dinner, but the next thing I remember, I wake up the next day, you know, and I don't know what happened, so I'm asking my brother, like, you know, hey, what happened?
Yeah.
Because we shared a room at the time, so I'm like, what happened? You know, and it's like, oh, you were falling asleep into your dinner, like you were nodding out into your dinner, and you kept dropping your phone, and then what happened was I tried getting up to get a napkin to clean off my phone, and I walked into a wall and fell down, and
Wow.
you know, I was horrible.
You were out of it.
Yeah, I was like really, really bad, you know, and
So mom and dad at this point are like, what are you doing?
yeah, they
know. Full
they
blast,
know
what
that
are you
it's
doing?
no longer weed or
Right.
alcohol. They're
Right.
like, this is way farther than that. You know, this is
Mm-hmm.
very bad. They didn't approve of the weed or alcohol either. Just FYI, they hated it. You know, they didn't want me doing it. But
It's now
you
a
know,
level of just
it's-
insanity.
yeah, now it's at a point where it's like, well, you know, we have to save our son. You know,
Yeah.
So you know, they tried everything they could. You know, but I'm sure, as a lot of you know, when you do hard drugs, there's a lot of bad consequences. So
Yeah.
one day, I had traded a couple of pills for other pills and took too many of them. I also drank and I also smoked weed. And I ended up overdosing. I was home, I was sitting on the steps with a bunch of people, and I had realized that my vision was going out because I was passing out. So and I knew that it was bad this time. That it wasn't like, oh, like, you know, you're passing out because you partied too hard. It was passing out because you're gonna die. So I opened my phone, got to the contacts as fast as I could because I knew I was getting really bad. So, but I opened the contacts, but I couldn't. By that point, everything was like waving, and I couldn't
Wow.
function too much. So I asked the person next to me to call my house number. So I got on the phone with them. You know, my parents obviously knew instantly that I was really messed up. They came and got me around the corner. And when I got home, I just fell asleep. You know, figured I could just sleep it off. As long as I'm home, I'll be safe. But, you know, I woke up around, I think it was 1 or 2 in the morning, and I needed to go use the bathroom, but I couldn't move, you know, so
Wow.
because of the amount of stuff that was still in me. Now, a little backtrack. I had gotten home in like probably 12 p.m., 1 p.m. So
In the like.
yeah,
Okay.
like sun is still out, bright day,
Right.
you know, summer day, and I had woken up around 2 a.m. So I slept for a very long time, and I had woken up with everything still running through my body.
Wow.
You know, so these were very powerful drugs, and so I had called for help to get me up. You know, so my dad picked me up, dragged me to the bathroom, and he said, "Okay, you know,
Go
I'm
do
gonna
your
close
thing.
the door." You
Yeah.
know, but when he closes the door, I pass out again, and I hit the sink and I hit the floor, and
Oh my
he
gosh.
drags me out. I'm like ghost white, you know, because I'm overdosing.
Yeah.
So, you know, they call an ambulance, the whole nine, go to the hospital, they stabilize me, send me home, and at this point I'm 18 years old, you know, so I mean, I don't know how that feels, and I continually feel bad about what happened because I know that, you know, had to really hurt my parents. I
Yeah.
feel bad about
And
that.
when did they feel like enough was enough? Like, this is it. We don't want you to influence any other children in here. We don't want to be around that behavior. When did it become finally enough?
Okay, so yeah, good question. That actually was the day when they said, okay, you're not going out anymore. Like, you're gonna stay home until we get you cleaned up.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
you know, like, you can't.
That had to be scary.
I honestly can't even imagine what that had to feel like for them. I hope I never do. I pray I never do. You know, but you know, it had to be really hard. But you know, so they forced me to stay home as long as I was living there. You know, I
couldn't go anywhere.
yeah, I couldn't go anywhere. You know, so.
But wouldn't you think that would be like the proper response for a parent to say,
Yeah.
no, you're not leaving this house.
Yeah,
And if
100%.
you do, that's it.
Yeah, then it's all, yep,
Right.
100%. I
Yeah.
agree with that. I 100% supported their decisions.
Yeah.
Not again. At the time, I didn't. Just I had put
yeah,
up a
they were
lot
buzzkills.
against them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had put up a lot against them, and you know, they supported me through everything. You know,
Yeah.
at the time I hated it, but thinking back now, they saved my life. You know, of course.
Absolutely.
You know, so. And God, of course, I mean, I could have died at any moment. God, of course, saved
God
me
was
first,
with
but
you
yeah.
every step of that journey, brother.
So,
for sure.
so it had gotten to a point where, you know, they made, I had started seeing a therapist for, you know, whatever. I was trying to, you know, make up whatever, really, to
say whatever.
Say whatever, you know. So I'm just.
Because you don't believe you have an addiction.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to say like, oh well, you know, it's whatever. So going to a therapist, and you know, every time we talk about life, but then he asks like, okay, so do you still feel like using? And yeah, I do. I'm never gonna not feel like using.
Right.
And it's like, okay, and so he's like, well, have you ever thought about rehab? And I was like, I've never thought about rehab. And he's like, okay, well, do you want to? And I was like, well, I mean, yeah, like, whatever, you know, whatever, let's try it, you know. So he gets up everything online, he calls, makes an appointment for me and all that stuff. So I get out of there with a bunch of papers, and you know, I tell my dad because he's the one that picked me up. Because again, I wasn't walking anywhere or going out by myself.
They didn't give you that luxury anymore.
That wasn't happening.
Oh yeah.
Because they knew as soon as I stepped out that door, I'm taking off running.
Yep.
You know, so. So he picks me up and he's telling him, hey, I'm going to rehab. And he's like, what? You know, and he gets very mad because not because he's mad that I made that choice. He's mad, I guess, because, like,
it's at that point.
It's at that point where he's like, he kind of just wants to shake me, like, wake up.
What's
you know,
wrong
like,
with
what
you?
is wrong with you?
Yeah.
You know, and which I can totally understand him. You know, it was very frustrating. You know, and you know, my mom was really upset. I didn't see her the next morning because she had to go to work early, but she packed my bag and everything, and like left me a note, you know.
She's so sweet.
Yeah, she's really an amazing mom, very supportive. You know, she's been there. I mean, they've been there for me for everything, you know.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, through this whole story, they're always helping me back up. But so I go, you know, and do my intake at the Riverhead Seafield outpatient. From there, I get shipped over to inpatient in West Hampton, Seafield.
At this whole time, do you think that you are an addict?
No, I mean.
Or are you just going through the motions?
I'm just going through the motions.
This is what I got to do because everybody wants me to. And
that's kind of what it was.
Right.
It was just like I'm like, I personally, I felt like I didn't have a problem, but I just wanted to
everybody's
party.
on my back.
Yeah, everybody wants me to stop, and I don't want to stop. So let's see, you know, what this does. Maybe I do have a problem, and I have to go figure it out in rehab. I don't know, but
yeah,
you know, so I'm just trying to
go through the motions.
I didn't learn anything in there. I was 18 years old, and I just.
How long were you there?
28 days. That's the longest that they have for Seafield.
Mm-hmm.
They don't.
It's kind of short.
Yeah, sometimes they do an extension, but it's very rare. They do have longer term rehabs. That one was a short term, But
And you felt nothing, learned nothing, just sat there,
yeah,
was in groups, things like that.
yeah.
Probably spoke to your
Counselor, yeah.
fed or whatever, and like as soon as I touched back down ground, it's on and popping again.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I was, I shared a room with two other people. My first night there, I had gotten into a fight with them. I guess it was kind of like because I'm a new guy.
With your roommates?
Yeah, with my
Oh,
roommates.
My goodness.
One of them was a Latin king. The other one, he was just crazy like me, I guess. But, but so,
Wow.
fought them, and then
And at the place?
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
it was right before bed,
What made you just? What sparked that? You just.
What, attack
Was
them?
it an attitude or did
No.
Oh.
They planned beforehand to do that to me.
Oh, to you, and you was like not trying to hear it.
Yeah, because, like I said, I think it's because I was a new guy or something or whatever. They just felt like doing it
Yeah.
because I'm small, But
They didn't know
I
you
guess
could
they
box.
I guess they didn't know I
They
really
didn't
I
know.
could fight back,
Right.
But I was laying down and they tried jumping me or whatever.
Oh my
But
goodness.
regardless, but it didn't happen again after that. I was good after that. I was cool with everybody, and which isn't really an achievement. I mean, I'm cool with everybody in rehab, but whatever. I thought I was cool at the time.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, but
It's just another way to get by too,
yeah,
without less problems.
yeah, exactly.
So, 28 days, we take on nothing. We are going to come out. Are we
Yeah.
going home?
yeah,
Mom is like, and Dad is trusting you again. Like, oh, he's out of rehab. Let's be hopeful.
yeah. It was I hadn't had plans to get high again. Like I didn't think I was going to
Right.
because at this point I was already clean for a couple of weeks beforehand. So it was like plus the rehab stay was probably
So
clean
you're
about
feeling strong.
2 months. Yeah, I was clean about 2 months. So I was like, I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Like, I won't do it again. And but shortly after, I started smoking weed and drinking. Telling myself that it doesn't.
It's just weed.
It's just weed. It's just beer.
Yeah.
It's
Nothing big.
nothing bad. It's whatever. Which I am completely against, by the way, now in Christ, because God says to be sober. But at the time, I thought it was nothing. So I had already begun my relapse. I was already smoking and drinking, so I was already on the relapse.
Did you feel bad?
I didn't feel bad. I really thought that was okay. Because everyone told me it was. They're like, oh, as long as you can control the weed and the beer, you're okay.
Now, I know that, were you one of the people that are like, alright, I'm going to smoke a little bit, or do you have to smoke everything?
Yeah, that's the thing. I had to smoke everything. I had to drink everything. Like I wasn't someone that
So
could
if you had a six-pack was going to be
drink in an hour. I'm not stopping one right after another. It's not. There's.
Was there a pain that you were trying to, like, avoid, or?
Honestly, I don't even know. Like, I really don't know what the issue was.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
some people do it. They drink to keep the pain away,
yeah.
which they think, and that's not always the case. But
yeah.
was there something there that?
I don't know. I mean, I personally don't know. It could have been because of, it's, I mean, personally, I say that it started a lot with the acceptance. That's why I talk a lot about my bullying in school, and then it became, automatically I'm really cool because I skateboard and I smoke weed, so that was my outlet,
Yeah.
But it was my golden ticket to friends, but so that's where I think it all started, but at the same time, it could have been something else, I don't know, but
Got it.
yeah, there was probably something there, but in my head I didn't realize any of that. It was more of just like I never consciously thought like I need to do this because I'm so upset about anything. It was never like that. It was just I can't wait to I just can't wait to do it again. Like even
Really?
after I finished a blunt or whatever
A
I was doing.
whole one by yourself?
Yeah, by myself.
Wow.
Yeah, I would. It would be okay. Where's my next one?
Right
Like,
away?
Right away. I'd have to think about how to get money for the next one because I know that the high is eventually going to end, and I couldn't stand being sober. Like it just.
Got it.
Like
That's
I literally
it.
could not have fun being sober.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
the answer. You just did not like being sober.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not so much of, well, we know biblically it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm saying at that time, you were just kind of partying, having fun. It
Yeah.
wasn't like, I'm sad, this is happening, or
No,
whatever.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was just like I mean, my family would take me out to like family outings. Like we'd go, upstate or whatever, or
Yeah.
we'd go to a carnival or a circus or something. I'd be sitting there like, checking the time, like, okay, when am I gonna go home? Because I need to go do this. Like, all my
Wow.
friends are texting me, they're having a great time, and I'm sitting here with my family, and it's like,
Like bored.
yeah, and it's like,
Wow.
yeah, and they would take me to all these awesome things, like stuff that everybody genuinely has fun at.
And
And I'm
dreams
sitting-
of. Some
and
families
dreams
don't
of, yeah.
even get to do
Yeah,
things
like
that.
I mean, I would be sitting there upset because I'm not getting high, so there was something wrong inside, obviously,
Definitely.
and
Definitely.
so it began with that.
Are you still going to church at this time?
No,
Coming out of rehab?
no, I had stopped after the pills got more serious. I had
Okay.
stopped
Okay.
because it was taking up time from being high, so I just couldn't do it,
So now, when did it get to an explosive point again? Because we're out of rehab, we're doing good, we're still an addict because we're smoking weed and
Yeah.
drinking, right? When did it get to a point of, okay, my parents are gonna find out again,
So
it's gonna be bad.
yeah, that started again. I actually met back with the same person.
Okay.
I because to be honest, I had held a grudge against them for a little bit.
This person.
This person
Got
that was
Okay.
that I met at my job and
Yep.
everything and all
Yep.
that happened.
Yep.
I'd held a grudge against them, trying to point the finger at them, saying, "Oh, it's your fault that all of this happened in my life." Like now my parents can't trust me. I overdosed. All this stuff happened in my life because of you, and so I had held a grudge against that person. But I got over it at this point, and I was like, you know what? Let me hit them back up, and so I did.
And the devil is always ready.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And that's why it's because the rest of that verse where he says, "Be sober," it says, "Because your enemy, the devil, roars around,
Yep.
prowls around like a lion, seeking whom he may devour."
Yep.
So what that means is, if you are not sober, you will not be vigilant to stay against him, to stay away from his lies, from his deception, all those things like, oh, it's just weed, it's just beer, you can control it. That's 100% a lie.
That's it.
And you can't do that stuff. And so I had fell for that, and then now because of that, he's now taking me to a point where it's, oh, you can talk to that person again. They'll
Yeah.
just do the hard drugs.
Oh,
You
yeah.
won't do the hard drugs. You can
Oh,
just smoke your weed. And now, so that's where the devil's lies take you. And that's why he says to be sober, because those things won't happen. Like, you wouldn't hang out with a person doing hard drugs if you're sober. It just
Absolutely.
doesn't happen.
So now we're back
Yeah.
and no good. And your parents are starting to now realize the change in you again.
Yeah. At first, they had only thought I was smoking weed and drinking again, which they were upset about, but,
So what can you do?
yeah,
You're 18.
they really, I mean, actually I was 19 at this point, and they were just like, okay, well, wish you weren't doing that, but,
It's not the other thing.
yeah, it's not the other thing,
Right,
so
so-
they're just grateful for that, but.
Which they are great parents.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll take, you know when to fight that battle. And,
Yeah.
and maybe at that point, they're like, well, this is the less of the bigger stuff.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, that's exactly. They were just like,
Yeah.
because a lot of people in society find alcohol as normal.
Right.
It's just, you just party.
Right.
And especially for a younger person
Right.
like myself, it's just what young people do. They just drink,
Absolutely.
you know.
Yep.
So they were just like, all right, well, as long as he's just,
Yeah.
doing that,
Yeah.
as long as he doesn't get into pills or anything, But I had started hanging out with this person again. I'm 19 years old, and started doing pills a couple of times, but this person had moved on to harder drugs. While during all of this time, they kept going to the spots, they kept hanging out in those areas.
So they were twisted.
Yeah, they got worse than I did. I had learned about it all though in rehab. I had learned how to do it all in rehab because I had spent my time, instead of learning how to stay clean, what I did was learn how to be a better criminal and drug
Oh
addict.
my goodness! At the rehab.
At rehab. It's not the rehab's fault, it's my fault, because it's the same thing with any sort of...
Like going to jail.
Yeah, it's the same thing with any sort of
100%,
institution, it's
Yep.
either you can learn, you can grow, and you can get over what you did, and move past it, or, you're gonna learn to do it better, and worse. So, that's what happened to me, and so, when I had got out, and I was talking to that person again, they were talking about crack, cocaine, they were talking about all kinds of harder drugs, and,
Wow.
so, it's like, okay,
Which
well...
is harsh.
Yeah, so, I was just like, okay, well, let's try it, whatever, I'm already, like, whatever, so, I hang out with them, I got introduced to crack, and,
Now, were you doing this on a daily basis, or like you started it, you tried it?
Yeah.
Did it hook you right away? Did it?
Yeah.
Really?
It was, from that point, it was the best drug I ever had. It was way better than the pills to me, because it was so, like, it made me feel good, like, physically, I guess. It made me have energy, I was awake, and I could...
Yeah,
I
but
just
does
felt
it
like having
last
fun.
a long time?
It doesn't last a long time. So it lasts about 10 to 15 minutes, And so right away you want more. I mean, it is like not even like, alright man, I'll get some more tomorrow. It is like, when you start coming down, you need more right now, because you cannot come down. Like, and the come down actually was pretty bad. You'd get headaches, heart pain, like, because your heart will run very fast because of it. So when you come down, you feel everything that it did to your body, so you like really messed up your body every time you do it. So you get nauseous sometimes, and it's very bad. But the first night that didn't happen because I didn't do a lot, and I had just went home, and I thought about it all night. I couldn't even sleep because of it.
You were excited.
Yeah,
for the
because
next day,
I knew tomorrow it was on, and the thing is, I had my mom worked at a particular bank at the time, and I just so happened to have that bank account because she signed me up for it because they were having some like bonus thing or whatever. So
right.
she could see my bank account, basically. So what had happened was she was worried about me, so she was looking at my bank history, and all she saw was 25, 25, 25,
Oh,
25, 25.
She knew.
From an ETM in a bad part of town. Not gonna say what place it was, but
No.
bad part of town, so, I mean, like, within, like, 15 or 10 minutes at a time, it would be, like, $25, $25, $25, $25. And, it went on for a couple of hours, and, so, I came home, didn't know that this was happening, and I was like, so, what were you doing? And they're like, what did you do today? And I'm like, oh, I don't know, I hung out with some friends, drank a little bit. And like, really? Because, you know, your bank says otherwise, you know, and I'm like, no, you know, I had to get cigarettes for my friends, you know, I felt like being generous. They're like, really? Like, that much? You spent that much on cigarettes? I was like, yeah, they needed cartons, you know, and I'm like making the worst excuses because
things,
it's like,
yeah. And you believe them.
because number one, I was high, and number two, I was caught off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I had to think on my feet right away and just think of something to you know, not come to grips with what I did, because I didn't even want to admit what I did.
Right.
You know, I was actually the first day I did it, I actually did feel bad, and I actually almost told my mom that I messed up and that I needed help again. But you know, it was that little devil on your shoulder that said, no, don't tell them.
Yep.
They're gonna hate you. They're gonna kick you out. They're gonna do all this stuff to you. They hate you, you know. And it's like, that's not true, you know. But that's what it was telling me. So that way I would keep doing it and keep my sins hidden, you know. Because because it says in the Bible that if you confess your sins, you will be healed of them.
Right.
You know, so it didn't want me to confess, because then I would be healed. I would get help, you know. So anyway, fast forward a little bit, you know. So they knew now what was happening to me. So now they're thinking, how do we stop it again? Now we have to get them help again.
Right.
You know, rehab obviously didn't work. Therapy didn't work. What do we do now? You know, so I don't know personally what was going on in their head, but I didn't let that happen again. You know, I knew if I was going to do something, I would have money set aside. I planned everything out way ahead of time, you know, because it wasn't as much of an everyday thing because of how expensive it was. It became a weekend kind of thing. But it changed into me getting a different bank account, you know.
And you're still working at this point, or?
On and off, I keep getting, at this point, yeah, at this point I am. But it happens to where, you know, I keep missing work, and then I have to get another job, and another job, and another job, but yeah, I have an extensive work history between, you know, like 6 years, but
But you knew you had to work.
yeah, I had to work to supply what I needed, you know,
Right.
so.
And this person that you know, on the wrong path with,
Yeah.
they were working too.
Occasionally, not usually though. They had very wealthy parents who they could always be like, oh, I need to pay for my car.
Excuse me. Yeah.
You know, they would always give them a new car. Well, not a brand new car, but you know, they would just give them a car whenever they crashed theirs. And,
yeah.
you know, they could do whatever they needed to, and they always, you know, hustled on the street or whatever, and you know, they didn't really work much because you know,
they had it like that.
yeah. So, but so now that ended up stopping for a little bit because, like, I mean, it would still happen, but it was like less. I don't know how it happened like that, but regardless, it escalated very quickly because then at the next point the person messages me because we're talking about, you know, crack, and then they're like, hey, but I tried this new thing the other day. It's called Molly. You know, and I knew about Molly at this time. For those of you who don't know, it is called MDMA is a technical term. I don't know the actual like scientific name for it, but MDMA, I'm sure you could Google it. It's also known as ecstasy, but Molly is they call it the purified form. It's crystals, it's very dense, and you know, people do it to party. They go to clubs and things like that, and they stay up all night and day, and you know, and then they crash, and then it's over with. So, but in the drug world, Molly isn't known as a hard drug. It's known
It's
as
like a party drug.
Party drug. You know, it goes with your beer. You know, it's nothing crazy because you could stop it right away. You could do it and then not do it again for 2 months. You know, it doesn't matter. You know, whereas things like coke or heroin or things like that, you have to do it constantly. So I said, you know, I tried Molly, and you know, it's so much cheaper than crack, and it keeps you up so much longer high, you know. And it's like, okay, so let's try it then, you know. And
Oh boy.
So I needed $40 instead of
Is that
$250 or whatever.
one or?
For me, yeah,
Oh,
that'll be
okay.
just for me. To last me the night. And so I was like, oh, $40, that's cheap. Whatever, I'll do it.
Then 25, 25, 25.
Yeah, you end up spending anywhere from $250 to even $500.
Wow.
Yeah, so so I'm like $40, okay. So I meet up with they pick me up and they bring me to actually an abandoned house, and thought it was weird, but because I had never been in one yet at this point, but I was like, whatever, I mean, I when I was smoking crack, I was in a tent, and someone.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Good.
sorry about that.
Yeah.
But so so I'm in there, and so I'm at the abandoned house, and there's a couple of people there I don't know, but not a big deal. I'm up to making friends.
And party.
Yeah, and party. If it gives me party, I'm with it.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of young people that younger than me at this point, and they were like 16 years old, 15 even. It was very strange, but I didn't care. I was just, I'm doing what I gotta do. You're here for a reason, obviously. You don't just hang out in an abandoned house accidentally.
For no reason.
Yeah. So but so I'm at this point. I'm waiting to see what's going on. The person shows up, tattoos all over their face, like it's a gang member, and so get whatever I get. Then like the guy doesn't leave and he stays, but so what happens is they end up pulling out spoons and putting the drugs in the spoons and lighting it. Now, that should have been the red flag to me.
Right.
But, I was like, whatever, they do it how they do it. I'm not going to do that. I'm never going to. The number one thing among drug addicts is I'm never going to use needles. And I'm going to be honest with you, for any of you who are watching this, if you use drugs, there's never an addict who starts out using needles. Never. They start out smoking weed and drinking, saying, I'm never going to do harder drugs. And you always end up doing harder drugs.
Wow.
It doesn't matter. You can ask any addict who uses needles, ask them, did you think you were going to end up like this? Or did you start out using needles? And I promise you, 100% of the time they're going to say, I started out smoking weed and drinking, saying I'll never do harder drugs. It's the same story for all of them, so anyway, so I told myself I wasn't going to do it. I just put it on my tongue, let it melt.
Oh, that's what happens. Okay.
Yeah, I put it on my tongue, let it melt, and felt great. I was whatever, the high, and it was like, wow, this is great, and everybody's having a good time. But it was a little weird too, though, because it's no longer partying. This isn't like so much fun anymore as it is. We're all here only to get high, and but the thing is, they were more advanced than me. They
knew the ropes. Yeah.
They knew everything. They were great at finessing and hustling, and they've been in the streets forever. And I wasn't as advanced as them. I had my street smarts, but I wasn't as good as them. And they, gang members, crazy people, just crazy people, and so it no longer was, we're partying and having fun. It's now like, okay, well, we're getting high, but we're not having fun.
And this is serious.
We're selling drugs, we're hurting people, we're robbing people. Like, this isn't, your friend's house. This is the trap house right here, so it got pretty real really fast.
And it was an abandoned house.
It was an abandoned house,
That's scary enough.
Only had electricity in one room, and we had a little electric heater, and it was in the middle of the winter. It was about late December time.
So it was snowing.
Yeah, it was
We had
snowing.
bad weather.
It was snowing. So we only had electricity in that one room. We would take turns sharing the one outlet that had for a phone charger. There was graffiti all over the walls, like holes in the walls.
Did you ever get caught in that house by the authorities, or?
I never got caught. They did end up getting caught eventually. After I was already gone, but so
It just got worse.
it got worse.
and
It took it to a point where it was, like, well, they were all doing it. It doesn't seem that bad. When they were all talking about how much better it felt.
Are you going home at this point, or
Yeah.
are we? You're going home every night.
Yeah, and I was coming home because at this point they had trusted me a little bit more to where I could stay out till like 11 or 12ish.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. But so what happened was I came home and I was still really high, a lot higher than I wanted to be, and it was hard because it's hard to fake being sober when you're not at a controlled level.
Got it.
It's when you can't control it, you think irrationally and you do irrational things when you're trying to focus and control yourself. It looks very weird. You can tell right away. If you're a sober person looking at them, you
Yeah.
can tell right away that they're
Something's
high.
wrong with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was very weird, but luckily everyone was asleep this first night, so I just ran into my room. I was tossing and turning. I couldn't actually lay down for
Settle
a long
down.
time.
Yeah.
I laid down and I would get so sick and I had to jump back up.
Sick, like wanting to throw up.
Throw up, yeah.
Okay.
But I wouldn't actually have to because there was nothing in me. Like, I just wouldn't have to, but just, I guess the way the chemicals, it just made me feel weird. So I would jump back up and like pace my room and lay back down and then jump back up and pace my room over and over and over again all night. And then I finally fell asleep. Fell asleep for about 2 hours, woke back up, went back out, right to the same spot, They were still awake doing it, so I'm like, okay, so the person was there again, and there was the whole room of people. Now at this point, I'm friends with them because we were hanging out all night. So I'm like, yeah, like, what does that feel like anyway? And they start talking about it. And
Is this with the spoon?
yeah, and
Got
the needle, yeah.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, but the person that had brought me there was like, don't ever touch the needle, like don't ever touch the needle. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I ended up doing it after they left. I thought it was so funny that I actually sent them pictures of it.
Of you doing it with
Of
the
me
needle?
doing it, yeah,
Wow.
with the needle. And they came over again later that night, and there's holes all in my arm, bruises everywhere, and like that became my life more than anything else on earth, more than all the other drugs.
Which was?
Oh man, pretty much I've tried pretty much everything except LSD and I don't know, like a couple of other weird drugs, but like I've tried pretty much anything.
Yeah.
I was the type of person, if you put it in front of me, I'll do it. But
So, we're getting out, sneaking off, doing these things, going back home, checking in, making it look good as much as you could.
yeah.
What was that moment where this is going too far?
For myself or my parents?
Start with yourself.
Okay. So yeah, when I had tried it and I had realized that I loved it, I was like, okay, yeah, I messed up. You know, I knew it right away. I was like, I messed up really bad. You know, because everyone in rehab had told me, if you try a needle, you'll never go back. Everybody in that house told me, if you try the needle, you'll never go back. Everyone has always told me, don't ever touch a needle, because if you do, you will never go back. And they were right. You know,
Wow.
I couldn't do anything else, like, at that point. There was nothing that would make me feel that good, you know, and there was no drug like it, you know, so I continued doing it. I was doing it probably once every hour.
Were you eating? Were you?
I was not eating. I couldn't eat on that. We ended up getting a drug testing kit and put a little bit of what we were doing in there, and it turned out that what it actually was, instead of Molly, it was actually methamphetamine, and also it tested positive also for some PCP as well.
Wow.
So what I was actually putting in my arm was methamphetamine and PCP.
What is PCP?
It's angel dust.
Okay.
So it's like,
Okay.
you know, it makes you hallucinate sometimes, or it does a lot of crazy things. Meth also does that, but it brings you up, a lot of energy, very
Got it.
very crazy stuff.
Got
You
it.
know, so at that point, I didn't even care either what I was doing, as long as as long as I was feeling like that all the time, I was gonna keep doing it. Didn't care what it was. You could put any name on it. I don't care. You know, I needed more of it. Every hour I was doing it, I had black and blue all over my arm.
And your parents never saw it?
My parents never saw it because it was winter. So
Oh,
I
so you were
always
able to
had
long
coats and
sleeve
sweatshirts
yeah.
and stuff.
Okay. Wow.
But, you know, so the first night that I had that, though, when I came home, I ended up not coming home till the next morning, and I had texted my mom saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I fell asleep at so-and-so's house," you know, and
She believed you?
she believed me, unfortunately, and, you know, so I waited till she left for work, and then I ran in the house thinking that my dad would be, you know, either out or sleeping or whatever, and he wasn't. He was awake, but, you know, so I ran into my room. He comes over and he's, you know, looking at me and he's like, I was like, yeah. I'm like, I got high before I came over here. You know, we smoked a lot and drank. You know, and he's like, 'cause you look like you're on like coke or something. And I'm like, no, I'm not on coke. It's K2. It's K2. It's that synthetic weed stuff. I don't know. I'm having a bad reaction. He's like, yeah, maybe you need to not do that again, 'cause you look really messed up. You know, I didn't realize how bad I looked. You know.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm high, so I don't see these things,
Right.
you know, I don't
Not
think
paying
these things.
attention.
I'm thinking I look normal and I'm acting normal. My hair is all messed up, my eyes are bloodshot, and my pupils are like this big, you know, and I look like a crazy person, you know, but, so I get away for that one, you know, but you can't use that excuse all the time. How many times are you gonna mess up, you know, you know, so.
Where's that moment where they're like, you're out of here?
So, they never actually, like, officially kicked me out, because I did stop at a certain point, when it was too much, but I kept going out, you know, and I had worked at Applebee's at the time, and so I was making good money, you know, and able to do whatever I wanted to, really. I had a lot of savings, blew all my savings, sold everything I had.
Wow.
You know, I blew everything, you know, and it was really crazy what I did, but it happened over a couple of months. Like, literally, my whole life was shattered in a couple of months.
Because of the needle.
Because of the needle. Because of drugs in general. You know, drugs in general. This all happened within a couple of months, you know. It wasn't like years and years. It took,
right.
Granted, from where I started, it took years, but from the time I had relapsed to where we are now, this is like maybe 6-7 months, and my whole entire life is gone. So, a lot of really bad stuff happens, and now I'm afraid for my life. I'm awake probably 3 or 4 days straight.
Binging.
Binging,
Yeah,
just doing
that's
drugs
it.
every hour,
On the
awake
hour.
for
Yep.
3 to 4 days.
Wow.
I don't really remember exactly how long it was, but, you know, wasn't really eating. I think maybe I ate a bag of candy and I drank a lot of water. And yeah, that was it. I ate like a bag of candy and like 3 gallons or 4 gallons of water.
Wow.
So then, after that, being up that long, you start, and especially on drugs too, you start hallucinating, audio and visual hallucinations. So, what happened was...
It's gotta be scary.
Yeah, it was very scary.
Ooh.
I was sitting... This point, I'm alone in a room, and I start hearing a lot of things, and so I get very scared. You know, I thought that there was things crawling at the door, you know, trying to kill me. It sounded like zombies and stuff.
And there's no light.
There's
like
no
one
light.
you said, right?
There's one light in the room. The rest of the house is pitch
Goodness.
black, and there's supposed to be nobody in the house at this point except me. I was supposed to be the only one in there, and I hear like it was a wooden door, so like nails going down the wooden door, like trying to claw their way through the door, and I got very scared. So there was a hole in the wall leading into another room, so I crawled through there and looked around. There's nobody in the house, you know, and I kept like crawling and crawling through every part of the house.
And
Nobody's
it's
there.
dark.
It's pitch black in the middle of a snowstorm. There's like debris everywhere because like they broke everything. Like all the walls are broken, doors are broken, like there's just glass everywhere. I'm like crawling and sneaking through this house trying to find what these people are talking. And I keep hearing these people talking, and it sounds like my friends, but they're not actually in the house.
So you're in there by yourself, just
Yeah.
hallucinating, hearing things, seeing things,
And I'm crawling
only
and
person in
walking
there.
around. Yeah.
in the dark.
Yeah, like a complete crazy person, you know. And so, okay, so I'm freaking out now. So I'm like, I need to get out of here. I'm so tired of this. I need to get away. I'm done with this. So I open the front door very, very slowly, and then as soon as I open the screen door, I hear the voices. They yell my name, KJ, like top of the like it was almost like it was screaming right behind me.
Mm-hmm.
So I run and I slam the door and I sprint. I'm in a t-shirt and jeans
In the
middle
winter.
in the middle of a snowstorm.
Hmm.
So there's like a foot of snow outside, and I'm like sprinting through, and you know, in a t-shirt and jeans, and I'm sweating. You know, I don't even feel cold. And every car that drives by, I'm like freaking out because I think it's them, and I'm like, you know, scared for my life.
So
And
you were just trying to get away from it all.
yeah, I was trying to I just wanted to run away. I didn't even know where I was going or how to get home or what to do.
Yeah.
I didn't know where I was. I just wanted to get away.
And had enough.
Yeah, and so I was running and running and running because a lot of bad stuff had happened that day before, but I'm not going to get into that. But, so we had decided at that point, I had decided to like try and find a way home. So I'm like looking for street signs and stuff, but at that point, a car had pulled up. I kept telling myself, it's not them, you're just high, stop freaking out. This car was them. They had actually pulled up and lowered the window and said, get in the car. And I did, I got in the car with them. Because I didn't know what they would do to me if I did it, you know, so I got back in the car. I don't know how they knew I left. Because they were somewhere else, you know, so.
Yeah.
So they kind of left. They were like, where are you going? I was like, I don't know. I just wanted to get away. And they were like, okay.
And this is the person.
This is the person, and
The other person.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So
Okay.
two people that were very big in my drug use and my life at that point. I was with them pretty much every day, all day.
And dependent on them.
Dependent
too.
on them,
Yeah.
yep, 100%. They had the car, they had the connects, they had
Yeah.
everything, you know, so
Yeah.
I needed to be around them. So and they had my back on certain situations. So, you know, I was like, these are my friends, you know, because
Yeah.
friends do this to each other, you know. But so they picked me up and they turned the car around and they're bringing me back, and I'm like, I just don't want to be high anymore. And they started laughing at me. They were like, wow, I almost feel bad, you know. And then they brought me back to the house and made me
Right.
get inside, and they babysat me at that point to make sure I didn't leave.
You didn't leave again.
Yeah, until I wasn't high, you know, so,
Right.
or I could control myself.
So
And
at this point, we're not going home.
we're not going home.
We're not checking in.
Nothing is
They
happening.
don't know where you are.
Yeah, they're trying to contact me for a couple of days. I wasn't answering them.
Home is just.
I was telling them, yeah, I'll be home, I'll be home,
Yeah.
I'll be home,
Yeah,
you know, and I wasn't coming home, you know. It was
for days.
for days. And I wasn't calling them, I wasn't answering their calls. I would just send them, I'll come home today, I'll come home today.
And they
You know,
just
once
knew
a day.
they were anticipating you coming home.
They were,
And you
I
did not.
would not come home because for some reason, I thought if I came home on the third day, not high,
That's it.
I would be okay.
Right.
You know, because I'm not high, so how would they know that I was getting high? You know, but obviously they knew I was getting high, so. But it became like 4 days or something like that, or I don't know. I don't remember how long it was exactly, but
Just binging.
it was a lot of days that I was out inside
Wow.
this house because I couldn't go home. They would not let me go home. You know,
All the people
all the
wouldn't let
people,
you go.
they would not let me go home. You know,
Wow.
I was pretty much, they pretty much held me there. You know, and it's because
And they just kept feeding you drugs?
they kept feeding me because. You know,
Misery loves company?
yeah, exactly. You know, they wanted me to stay chained. You know, and
Yeah.
even when I sprinted away, I could not get away.
Yeah.
You know, it pulled me back in. You know, and
Yeah.
so. You know, I felt stuck. You know, I felt like a prisoner. I remember specifically saying, I feel like I'm in hell. You know,
Yeah, because there's nothing.
there's no
Yeah.
way to escape. You know,
You were never hungry. You were never thirsty. You were never.
nothing. I specifically ate so that I wouldn't die, but there was never a hunger. Like I never got
Wow.
hungry. It was the only hunger I had was for drugs.
Wow.
And I remember I remember my good friend Will Barger, when I first came back to Christ and I saw him, and I was telling him my testimony. I had told him, I thought for the longest time that I would die with a needle in my arm. Like I
Wow.
didn't think I was ever gonna get over it. You know, I really
Yeah.
thought I was gonna die with a needle in my arm. And it even hurts to say it now, you know, but
granted
God
you
set me
victory.
free from that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he didn't stop trying for me always, you know. And anyway, so I did this thing where I had messaged my brother secretly, you know, without them, because a lot was happening. So I had messaged them while it was happening, saying, "I need help. I'm afraid for my life. You know, I can't get out of here. You know, and something bad is really happening here, and I need help. You know, so." I was like, don't tell mom and dad, don't tell them, you know, like just know my location,
Right.
you know, that way if I don't answer you anymore.
You know where to come.
I'm sorry, I had them on the phone, I had him on the phone and said, if you hear something happen to me, you know, I had already sent to my location, if you hear something happen to me, then send help, but, you know, don't do anything
tell.
yet,
Right.
you know, so I'm waiting. You know, stuff keeps getting crazy. Now, what I didn't realize was my other brother at the time heard all that was happening on the phone and went and told my parents, you know, while that one was on the phone with me, you know, so I didn't realize that, you know, and so I get a call saying, from my dad, you know, and I answer it, and all the people are in the room at this point, and they're like, and you know, he's screaming at me because I'm messing up so badly, you know, and I got my parents worried sick, my whole family worried sick about me, and I'm doing this to them again, you know,
Yeah.
it's how many times, you know, and so he's screaming at me over the phone, and you know, he's like, where are you, you know, and I looked at them, and they were like, they told me the corner that I.
Oh, you didn't even know where you are.
I didn't know where I was. So I was like, so told in the corner, and they were like, he didn't want to hear that. He was like, "Where is your address?" I was like, so I.
Didn't know what to say.
Yeah,
right?
I didn't know what to do, so I was just like, Anyway, so he gets me. No,
Oh, he comes to get you.
My mom and my brother come and get me, and they were okay with it. They were like, all right, well, go, like not gonna have people, because they knew that I have concerned parents who care about me,
So they knew.
So
better.
they
Yeah.
knew that if they kept me, and if I didn't go home, that what was gonna happen was there was gonna be, there was gonna be trouble, So they were like, just go, and they let me go. They weren't like holding me at gunpoint, but like, they were afraid of me getting caught out in the street, and then,
Saying that right.
they and where the house was and things like that. So they weren't letting me go to cover themselves, But if there was going to be trouble anyway, they were like, let me go. So I go. First thing I still remember it till this day exactly what my mom and my brother turned around at the same time, and they gave me this look of just like such fear, such disappointment, anger.
Yeah.
I could see all of it in them, and I was just like, wow, I really messed up. But I was also afraid, of going home because I'm gonna get in trouble,
Yeah.
So I was afraid of what was gonna happen. So walking up the steps to my house, I paused for a second. I almost didn't go inside, because what was happening in my head was because I knew I couldn't get high anymore. So I had to make the choice right there. If I go in there, I'm not getting high anymore. I'm going to clean my life up. Or I'm going to turn around and sprint and run away from them and go get high. Go back to the house. That's what I was going to do. I had to think about it. That's how bad it was,
Wow.
I was about to run back to that, And for a couple of weeks after that too, I actually thought about going back, But anyway, so, obviously.
You didn't go back.
Yeah, I went inside, and consequences, whatever.
Thank God.
And, it was really emotional. It was really intense.
Yeah, because didn't you go through withdrawal and?
Yeah, I got very nauseous. I was having what they call cold sweats, which is when you're freezing cold and shivering, but you're sweating too at the same time. My heart is racing constantly, and I haven't eaten in days, so my body is just so malnourished, but I couldn't eat because I was so nauseous, and it was just the worst time ever.
And you did this all on your own, just by staying home.
Yeah, I just stayed in bed, had a garbage can next to me,
Wow.
had a whole bunch of water, and some juice to, for vitamins or whatever, and I tried going to the store with my mom to try and get some things that
Would help you.
juice and stuff like that to try and help pick me back up. I was falling out as I was walking with her, so we kind of made the shopping trip quick. But it was pretty intense. I admitted to them what I was doing 100%. I had shown them my arms, and they were like, well, what do you want us to do? Like, do you want to go back to rehab? Do you want therapy? Like, what can we do? How can we help you? They were just so, they were angry, but they were so desperate to help me because
Right.
they didn't want their son to go,
Right.
And I was like, I don't know, I genuinely didn't have an answer on how to fix it, except don't let me go out, keep me here, chain me if you have to,
Yeah.
because I will die if I go outside, you know, so.
Yeah. So now, it's bad,
Yeah.
and mom and dad are right there again by your side.
Mhm.
So you know that you can't go out.
Mhm.
You basically are stuck inside. What kind of life is that?
It
You
was.
know, no work, no.
Yeah, it was really bad. It was I the first night, first of all, I'd stayed up all night, till the morning came, didn't sleep. I'd slept, I did take, I think it was 10 minutes nap, and then I was awake for the whole rest of the day. Um, but all night I was bothering my poor brother. Um, I kept waking him up saying, you know, like there's people outside, because I was hallucinating.
Still.
You know, yeah, I was still
Wow.
very much hallucinating. And I thought that there was people outside, you know, trying to break in. I thought that there was people in the basement, you know, and I thought that they were all coming to kill me. You know, I thought because, you know, of what happened,
Right.
that they, like I had this whole conspiracy in my head that because of what happened, they thought that I was gonna snitch and that all this stuff was happening and they all like had this mob to come into my house and kill me. You know, so I kept waking him up. There's someone outside. And it was just snow. I was just hearing the snow outside.
Wow.
You know, he almost beat me up, but but so
We're getting clean.
yeah. So I'm getting clean. It was just a lot of, I don't know. I just tried to keep my mind off of it. I tried to, you know, make friends who didn't get high. I took up boxing, you know, to try and get, you know, fit or whatever, you know, because they say exercise helps. I tried doing everything. I went to NA.
Nothing worked.
Nothing worked. Really, there was, because I would still think about it. It would still be in the back of my mind, like, you know what, like, this would be better if I was high. You know.
So what was that aha moment for you when you're like, what is it going to take for me to just get better?
It got to a point, okay, so I was in NA, I was collecting all my key tags, doing my thing, you know, speaking and leading up meetings and all that stuff, and had my sponsor doing my 12 steps, doing, you know, talking to the newcomers, and I was signing up for everything. I was the NA spokesperson, you know, and still didn't feel it, you know, I was still like, still want to get high.
Wow.
Still talk like there's nothing that's fixing me. You know, I wish that I could be fixed. You know, like I really desired to be clean at this point. So what had happened? Because I had, like I said earlier, I did accept Christ a while ago when I was 16. I just didn't follow him the correct way. I didn't give my life to him yet. I just knew that he was God, and I was like, okay, cool, but, you know, I'm on earth. You know, I gotta do what I gotta do on earth. You know, so, didn't give my life over to him. So I was just like, you know what, let me just see, you know, like, so I just prayed, and I was just like, God, like, if you want me to stop doing drugs, you gotta take it away from me, because I can't do it, you know, and if, not to force him into doing anything, but I kind of was saying in a roundabout way, like, if you don't do this, I'm gonna go get high, you know. It wasn't saying like, oh, do this for me. It was more like, I know myself, and I know I always get a little tiny bit of clean time, and then I fall right back into it, you know.
Right.
Worse than the last time.
This time, you know? I want it to be done for good.
I want it to be over with, because and for some reason I just couldn't get it, you know. So I was like, please, you know, and it was weird. It was like almost like I could feel it, like it was done. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know how to explain it in words, that it was just, it was gone from me. Yeah, it's just that I just knew somehow that God had taken it out of me. that I didn't, and I really haven't wanted to get high ever since. Actually, when I see it in movies now, it actually like turns my stomach upside down, and I get like very weirded out about it. But I haven't gotten high since then. I haven't thought about getting high.
It's amazing.
God has completely set me free. I was so overjoyed that I just was reading my Bible all morning, and my brother actually woke up to me, reading the Bible. He's like, "What the heck are you doing?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I'm reading my Bible. I love God, man." And he's like, "Yeah, okay. I guess Kenny fell off again." But, and then I was praying about like where to find a church and all these things, and God kept giving me specific people, like specific churches and things like that, and I got plugged in right away, and I've just been so good. Like I haven't wanted to get high since then. I haven't wanted to get drunk since then. And it's like I've had peace, I've had happiness. Like I'm able to enjoy being sober now. Yeah, I'm able to enjoy my life. I'm able to enjoy like just going on a walk. I'm able to enjoy these things. I'm peace. I'm happy with my life. I have trust with my family again.
Amazing.
They see the change in me. They know that it's real. That I obviously had a supernatural encounter with God. Because to do that overnight is impossible. It is. It's impossible. It's nothing short of a miracle. I had an encounter with God. It's the same story as always. If you look in the Gospels, of whenever someone is possessed or some type of disease or things like that, it's always when they have that encounter with Christ, when Christ comes over and touches them, or when Christ says you're healed, or when Christ says your sins are forgiven. Go and sin no more. It's instant, but it's when they have that real encounter with Christ. And that's what it took for me. It took for me to have my heart really searching for Him, to have my heart ready to sign my life over to Him, say like, God, I'm so tired of getting high. I'm so tired of ruining my life and hurting my family who cares so much about me. I'm so tired of this. I don't care what you want me to do. If you want me to do whatever, I'll do it. I'll walk on my hands for the rest of my life if that's what it takes. I just don't want to get high anymore.
And I just want to say that I've noticed your drive.
Yeah.
The hustle now is to recruit.
Yeah.
The hustle now is not recruit another person to come and get high with.
Yeah.
It's to get that freedom that you now have received. And I think that is so amazing.
Yeah.
Because this guy right here, you can see it. And you know when he's speaking it's the truth. Yeah. And he holds no punches.
Yeah.
And he tells you the real.
Yeah.
And he was in an abandoned house. He's sitting on my couch right now.
Yeah.
Clean.
Amen. Praise God.
And it's great when we're able to go out and hear him speak. Wherever it may be, in the street, another NA party, whatever it is, it's exciting to know that he's going to do it, because you know why? It's real. Yeah. It's going to mean something.
Amen.
So what do you say right now to that person that's in that abandoned house right now in the dark? And they may have some way to see this video. And we just thank God if they could. Whoever it is, what advice would you give to them right now?
I would say, number one, if you have a family, call them and go home. Because I can guarantee you that even though they'll be mad at you, they're going to love you anyway. And they'd rather you be home and safe. Amen. And number two, start praying to God. Even if you don't go to a church right away, you should go to a church that Sunday as soon as possible. But start praying immediately. Start openly seeking Jesus, like with a real heart. Just truly, as much as you hustle and go for the high, do that for Jesus, and I promise you, all there's no high on earth that will ever feel like the feeling of coming and having an encounter with the one true living God, Jesus
So that's
Christ.
the ultimate high.
Exactly.
It's right there, and
Exactly.
let them know where you are today. Let them know that we came from nothing
Yeah.
to where are you today.
So, well, number one, I have a job. Number two, I'm about to get married in a little bit. I have a kid. I have a huge church family now, people who genuinely care about me. My family trusts me. I'm able to now spend my money on normal things and things that I could use for my life and things that are beneficial and necessary, rather than drugs. I have friends I could trust now. I'm not scared for my life. I'm not scared of who wants to hurt me because of what I've done to them. And I'm able to share my testimony with people and preach to people about the good news of Jesus Christ, that He came and died for our sins, and that it doesn't even matter if you're not a drug addict, if you're stuck in any type of sin where you feel like you can't get out, that no matter how hard you try, no matter how many programs, things you buy, the videos, the documentaries, what doctors, doesn't matter, that you can't get out, you could get out with Jesus Christ. He's the one and true way. He's the only way. And He breaks every chain. He sets you free from everything. And I suggest, just start praying and read your Bible. Start in the 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
There you go.
And learn about your Savior.
There you go. And like he said, he has a kid now, a fiance,
Yeah.
getting married soon.
Yeah.
I think turning over your life to God for real this time,
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
He's truly blessing you with so many things.
Yeah.
And I love that.
It came to a point where, now my fiance, but she was my girlfriend at the time when we had found out she was pregnant. I hadn't turned over my life to Christ yet. Well, I just turned my life over to
Right,
Christ.
but you weren't
and
there.
I wasn't fully there. So I prayed, I was reading the Bible and I saw a promise in Matthew 6, and it says, don't worry about these things, clothes, food, things like that. It says, seek first my kingdom, my righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. So I prayed to God, God, I'm taking you up on this promise. If you want me to have a daughter or son,
Right.
And you want me to be in this child's life, you need to provide, because I don't make enough money. I can't do it on my own. And so far, He's been providing me with everything I need.
Amen.
Whether it be through people's blessings or just He just blesses me with a job or blesses me with money. Whatever He does, He always provides for me. And that's why I'm in the position I am today, to be able to do. I'm not preaching a prosperity, saying God will make me a millionaire.
Right.
But He does take care of His children.
Amen.
And
He is a provider.
Yeah, yeah.
And He
100%.
will show you every time.
Yep.
Exactly. And you know what? It's bad because a lot of times He provides and we forget to say thank you.
Yeah.
Or we know
Yep.
that was you.
Yep.
And I know that I'm just so proud of you.
Thank you.
And how far I remember meeting him at a prayer meeting, and I thought to myself, who is this guy with all these tattoos? What is wrong with him? But, that just goes to show that everybody's walk is different.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's important that we all support one another, and we're there for one another, and we love one another, because God has brought us all together.
Amen.
For those reasons,
Yeah.
So it's I'm thinking of Joe's house to today. And it's such a difference in who you are.
Yeah.
And just keep on preaching and keep on sharing the good news. And don't ever stop, bro. This is who you are.
Yeah.
You're called.
Yeah.
Don't ever stop. Continue to inspire others. Because I think when we hear you preach, we're just wow. This guy was in an abandoned house, people, with a needle in his arm at one point. And look at him today, doing so many great things, and has a family now. And God is going to continue to bless this young man, his future wife, and their daughter Jasmine, because why? He really gave himself over to Christ. Not only did he just say, I want to be a part of this, he is a part of this. He lives a part of that. I really want to thank you for sit down and talk about it with us, because these are the interviews, these are the testimonies that you want to share. Because if we just reach one person today, it is so worth it.
Yeah.
And not everybody's willing to share. But maybe this will inspire others to want to talk about it and share and let people know there's hope. Tell them there's still hope.
Yeah. And if you do struggle with anything of the sort of this, or just any type of thing in general, or if you're just wondering about Jesus and your Savior and what life is about, message, let's talk about it, and you know we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Definitely.
If there's anybody that is struggling and they want to get KJ Sanchez's email, we can do that as well.
Yep.
Where
Definitely.
you can talk about it with him, because he definitely knows more about this than I would know. But believe me, if I need to get the info from him, he's not that far away to get it.
Yep.
Please reach out to us, folks. And I mean anybody.
Yeah.
Reach out.
And
I think that's what people don't do.
Yeah, and don't ever think that you're a burden or that we'll judge you or anything like that.
No.
We actually love when people come to us with questions,
Yeah.
because that's what we love doing. We love helping. We love talking about this stuff because Jesus did it for us. So, you know, he said, freely you have received, now freely give.
Amen.
You know, so
amen. And
that's
we
what
want to help people.
We want you.
Jump those hurdles. We want to get you over that barrier.
Yeah.
We actually go out
Yeah.
in the freezing cold, and we go find homeless people, and we try to minister to them, and we try to feed them and give them, you know, whatever they need.
Yeah.
But that's what the calling is all about.
Yeah.
You know, and what's so great, I think, with our group is because we have so many different things to bring to the table.
Yeah.
Like those who need from you with, you know, prior drug use and things like that, you can answer that. Willie is very strong where the Bible and verses and you know, I can bring a different for the ladies, and you know,
100%.
we all want to just be there. We all want to just help. And we all fall short. We all cigarettes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody has their things.
Yep.
It's just getting and saying, God, please. Just keep calling on him. God, please, God, please, God, please, God, please. If you're ever around 31 Neighborhood Road, 10:30 is Bagels on Sunday. I'm telling you, walk in that door with any type of problem, whatever, I can bet, and you know for a fact, 4 or 5 people will ask you who you are, want a hug, how's your week, do you need help, because that's what we do. And that's called home church.
Amen.
So I really, really hope that we just even reach one person today. KJ Sanchez, I'm telling you, thank you so much for sitting with us today. This was so powerful, and when you were talking, it's like I had like chills at certain points when you were sharing about, you know, different times in your life, and as it progressed and got worse, because this is my brother in Christ, so until you really hear it for yourself, and you heard me saying, I don't want to know because I want to ask you at that time, you just wish you could have been around to say, bro, we're here. But you know what? This is the question I want to ask KJ. Is there anything you would change in your life at this time?
I mean, obviously, like, if I could do it without drugs, but I mean, at the same time, if I'm going to I like my testimony, you know, and I like being with Christ the way I am, you know, and granted, you know, like I said, I wish I could have done it without drugs, but at the same time, you know,
would you be this hungry if you didn't?
That's
go
what
through
that's the
storm?
thing. It's like I don't know if I would have the same type of love, you know, for Christ that I do now.
or
You
the
know?
appreciation
Yeah.
or respect.
Yeah.
Also.
You know,
Jeez.
some people get it right away. You
Mhm.
know, some people
Yeah.
just grew up in the church and they just, you know, they got it right away. You know, some people grew up in the church and didn't. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't grow up in the church and I didn't get it. You know, but I'm so thankful that God saved me and that He freed me from my wickedness and that He paid the death for my sins. You know, and
Yeah, and you know what? Now when people see you, they're like, KJ, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
instead,
yeah.
instead of how you felt before, where it was
Yeah.
like, oh, KJ,
Yeah.
right? Now everybody's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
KJ Sanchez
Yeah.
is in the building.
And actually, a lot of my old friends too have seen me now, and they actually don't even recognize me sometimes because I'm
You're
alive
mad.
now.
You are totally
I'm
different.
alive. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
life in me. I have the light in me, the light of God in
Yes.
me. You know,
Come
the
on
Holy
now.
Spirit is
Come
living
on.
in me. So you know, they don't even. I talk, you know, normally because I'm sober. You know, and I'm rational. I got my life together, and you know, they're still doing the same thing, unfortunately. But I always see them. You know, I always pray for them. I always visit them. You know, do whatever
Which
I
is
can do
important.
for them. Yeah.
Giving back.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that.
We don't ever discriminate against people, no matter what they're going through, because all sins are equal.
For what they've done.
All fall short of the glory of God. You know,
Amen.
there's at the foot of the cross, the ground is equal. You know, so you know, none of us are perfect. We all struggle. You know, so we're all at different places in our life, but you know, we always have to try and reach out to everybody. So, like I said,
Amen.
if you really need, if you even just questioning, you know, who is God? What is the gospel? You know, feel free to message.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Awesome.
And either I or Rochelle will get in contact with you.
I will definitely pass that right along to him because he's strong. And that's what's the greatest thing. Once again, bro, thank you so much
Thank you.
for giving us your time today and just sharing so much. Oh my gosh. I just have like this newfound like wow in my
Yeah.
thought process.
Yeah.
You know, because I knew a little,
Yeah.
but I didn't know like,
the full
Wow.
extent. Yeah.
you know, so it's like
Yeah.
I'm just amazed. I'm just really amazed, and be proud of yourself,
Thank you.
and keep on hustling and keep on reaching whoever you're gonna reach, because I know God has such a serious plan for you and your family, and I just know you think He's something. We'll be live at the wedding, folks, for a little bit, because they're getting
Yeah.
married, but
Amen.
I just want you to see that he not only found him a fiance, but a woman of God.
Amen.
And
Amen.
their daughter is going to be a little child of God.
Yep.
You know, it's just,
Amen.
we got to get you back here in a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
that we can show them again
Yeah.
just how great God truly is
Amen.
and how He has
Amen.
continued to work on KJ Sanchez's life. So thanks. I'm your host, Rochelle Campbell. KJ Sanchez, thanks again for talking about it with us. Peace.